Welcome back. My name is Jake, aka Cinder Tarnished. This is Interworld Playthrough Part 13. Last time we spent pretty much the whole time here in the Roundtable Hold. Sorry, excuse me. Kind of need to just like get through some playthrough things, or else we're going to be here forever. So, gonna quickly kind of take care of some business today. Read the previous comments, which there's been some really good ones, really interesting ones, and then we'll kind of jump back into the more super deep dive. Obviously, as we come across things, we will discuss them, but yeah. So let's, I'm going to jump into part 10 comments and just see. So Antonio says, on the topic of the academy, I think there's shutting the gates is supposed to represent a separation with society, both as in not letting people in and not letting things out. The first part is told through the glintstone keys, a clear way to filter access to the school. The not letting things out part comes from the preceptor's mask, which bear a sigil similar to Radagon and the academy gates. These masks are meant to keep secrets or knowledge and emotions inside. Totally agree with that. Sorcerers in general seem to prefer an isolated lifestyle and put similar spells on their rises throughout the lands between. On some level, it could be because they believe that social interactions taint the self. Oh, jeez. Let's go talk with her super quick, start this up.
Your divinity, mercy, grant me forgiveness. The road is yet long, but God is not easily felled. But one day without fail you will have your wish. So please grant me forgiveness, Queen America.
That prayer is always so interesting to me. Just in respects to exactly who he is talking about. Now, obviously, he's praying to Queen America, right? But the god that it would seem that he's supposed to build a weapon to slay would also be Queen America, or the Elden Beast.
You is it? I didn't notice you there. I'll be doing my job, same as ever. Just lay out your arms. Those words were not meant for you. I may be prisoner to you, tarnished lot, but my prayers are mine, and mine alone. Well, I've had my say. I'll be more careful too.
It's also interesting that he says that I'm prisoner to you, tarnished lot, and he's not prisoner to Queen America or some other
I am pleased
entity.
to see you again. Would you like me to hold you once more?
Hank?
Now, come closer. You are so very warm. My dear, Have you ever heard of Black Knife Prince? Dear Roger likes to talk of them when abed, and the ancient plot in which the first of the demigods was slain. The black knives wielded by the assassins who committed the act, along with the impressions they made, somehow hide the truth of the conspiracy. These grand affairs are hardly my forte, but dear Roger began to weep as he spoke. In truth, I've heard tell from someone else about the Black Knife Prince that fascinate dear Roger so. But it wouldn't be right to give this to him, stuck as he is in the Roundtable Hold. Perhaps you could make use of it?
It's kind of interesting. To me, I almost get the vibe that she's like supposed to be almost like a therapist type of figure, like very much consoling you. She seems to have the ability to read into dreams, and dreams, as far as psychoanalytics go, are very much like a gateway into the sub and unconscious realms of our psyche, and she seems to have a particular knack for that type of thing. All right, let's just gotta get out of here.
Thank goodness, I'm still looking not easy. You're telling me I possess some kind of gift?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe you. But if I do have this talent, and goodness knows it would be my first, I suppose I'll ask Master Hugh to teach me. Certainly he does appear intimidating and holds no love for us tarnished. But I know he's trapped here at the Roundtable Hold, so I can tell. He's a gentle soul underneath it all. If I do have a talent for spirit tuning, and goodness knows that, I suppose I should try. I'll ask Master.
Yeah, you should. Anyways, back to Hugh. Sorry, my dog is really annoying this morning. Like, does she have green eyes? Can't really tell. Oh, come on. Does anybody know? Does she have green eyes? They blue? They almost look blue, don't they? I cannot tell. Hugh being, by the way, the Rodrika and Fia look identical. Like, their faces are pretty much just a copy and paste of one another. And it's possible that Hugh is referring to Fia, as far as I knew somebody long ago that had that ability. And if they have the same eye color, that would tie that even closer together. But with Hugh saying, I'm prisoner to you tarnished, it makes it seem like he was not brought here directly by America. That he was kind of forced here by the tarnished. me see. Where was I going here? Oh, I need to go back to here. Which would be really interesting. Which would basically mean that somebody other than America told him to defeat a god. And the only person that we know that says something along those lines would be Gideon. Did I miss? Can I not do this now? Really? Can I not do her quest? Oh shit. Really? Maybe if I come back to it? And we know that Gideon has been here for a long, long time. The Roundtable Hold, at least. So it's possible that Gideon is the one that brought Hugh here, and with his desperate attempt to have power and knowledge is telling Hugh that he's a prisoner here and that... Ah, mother effer. And that his sole purpose is to create a weapon that can kill a god. And America is the one that told him to tell Hugh that... which would make more sense than... Because right now, if you take Gideon out of it, it is a very confusing statement or prayer. Because on one hand, he's terrified of somebody and calls that somebody her, which it would be kind of hard pressed to assume that it's anybody other than America, just based off of what we know. But then at the same time, he's saying, "Forgive me, America, I'm doing my best." There's just not a whole lot of cohesiveness between those things. What the... What the... I didn't know those guys had so many damn... heals.
Please, no. Dear me. I haven't a clue. No secrets lie with me, not a one. Oh, please leave me be. Wait then. You're not one of them? Well, what a relief. Oh, goodness me. I am Albus and Albinoric. As you can see, we're finished. The whole village is finished. The cursemongers have destroyed everything. No one that remains has their wits about them. I beg you. Would you look after this medallion? You must keep it out of the cursemongers' hands.
Mm-hmm.
And if you should meet the young Albinoric Latena, then please give it to her.
Ugh. Oh. What the frick? Stop!
A chosen land awaits us, Albinorix. The medallion is the key that leads to the city. It's only a quaint treasure for we who cannot make the journey. But for dear Latenna, it is needed to fulfill her purpose. My legs will soon fade, and with them my life. Alas, this is the immovable fate of all Albinorix.
It's interesting. It's like another point of stagnation is death in this game. Like their legs disappearing, and then with that, their death comes. Is just another way to say being stagnant and things like that is leads to corruption and death and all that kind of stuff. So, oh, what the? Damn. Okay, before I do this, does anybody know? Can I, like, did I totally mess up her quest line? If you know, if I can redo it, let me know, because that sucks. If I mess it up, I'll just come back and clear the area, but if I can somehow salvage it, that would be great. Good God, dude. Ow. Let's see. This seems like a good time to go back and read another comment. Me rushroom. He said, interesting that you concluded that the age of Aquarius should be next. Following up on your thought around the 31-minute into the video, I think that Liurnia is better fit for Aquarius than Ranni. Despite being represented by the water bearer, Aquarius is an air sign. Liurnia's waterfowl dance seems to be invoking this directly. And also, Aquarius is about sweeping away the past to make room for something new, which seems to be what Scarlet Rot is doing. Finally, the opposing sign to Aquarius is Leo, so it's appropriate that Melania and Radon, the red line, are in conflict with each other. Yeah, that's a really, really good observation. I always just kind of assumed it was Ronnie because of the fact that we can do her quest line, and like she brings about a new era and essentially kicks off the whole like process of this next epoch. But you're right, I mean, Melania definitely embodies those things as well. And the fact that her and Radon fight, and that he's obviously associated with Leo, and her waterfowl dance. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. And it could be that is why in her Great Rune description it says that this should have been like the best one, but Scarlet Rot kind of fucked everything up. Which means that she was supposed to be the next one, the most powerful one to come into the light, or have her epoch essentially begin, but something happened. And that something could very well be Radon himself, but the fact that he essentially was never really destroyed until we come along, this state of stagnation just completely messed everything up, and Ronnie is now the one that is able to kind of correct this. But again, like, Ronnie's whole quest is that her fate is locked in the stars, and nowhere does it say that about Melania. But then again, I mean, that could be what Empyreans are the next sorry. Ouch. Oh shit. What? It could be that Empyreans are just the next sign, right? That's supposed to be dominant, and which is why it doesn't necessarily need to be that Ronnie is next. You could be right about that. That it is Melania who's supposed to be next, but Ronnie is maybe perhaps after Liurnia or whatever, and better heal up. And that, you know, because Radon is holding back the stars and essentially the precession of the equinox, that all three Empyreans are basically in a state of stagnation until somebody comes along and is able to defeat Radon and then resume the normal flow of that procession. That's definitely possible, and it would still make sense that Liurnia went there to try to defeat Radon for this purpose, and was not able to do so. And then the first part of your comment, Mushroom, with it, it's not like I didn't just say like, oh, Aquarius is probably next. That's just how, I mean, that's just like the flow of it. Is it Pisces, and then after Pisces is Aquarius. So but still a really, really good observation, and one that I agree with. And it could be just that Ronnie kind of usurps the order, essentially by using us, and because Melania's rot and stagnation has just completely messed up kind of the order and the timing of things. So I'm thinking about, I either want to do dual oh my god. Dude, my brain, I'm really sorry, my brain is just not working today. I either want to do dual like rapiers or oh my god, 1 second. S-Docs, which I think would be really fun. Or I want to do like a Grim Reaper type of playthrough with like a scythe. Do I have the scythe already? Yeah, I do. Which I think would be really fun too. But I could use it already. I think I'm gonna start with the scythe and do more of like a Grim Reaper, because its character's name is Shadow, so I think it fits pretty well. And then just go from there and see. Let's just pump here. Can't go wrong. I'll read one more and then get going on. Okay, I'm going to continue with Antonio's. So he says, sorcerers in general seem to prefer an isolated lifestyle and put similar spells on their rises throughout the lanes between. Yeah. On some level, it could be because they believe that social interactions taint the self. Quoting Glintstone Arc, granted to the sorcerers who depart from the academy to embark on journeys in order to fend off large groups of would-be adversaries, fools often roam in packs. I wonder if the stone crowns are also represents this tendency, since wandering sorcerers put a blindfold on them, see Haima, covering their glintstone eyes. The solitude theme pops up again in Ronnie's ending, as she makes the point of embarking on a lone journey multiple times during her quest. The Golden Order shackles this independence the fate of stars. I think this is the meaning of Radagon's web of word that you mentioned in your lore video. Their divorce leaves Renala broken, showing the dangers of human relationships and probably reinforcing the sorcerer's convictions. They shut themselves in, playing into the usual themes of stagnation or petrification. Whenever war broke out and the Academy sealed its gates, only Haima's, hope I'm saying that right, Haima's? I think it's Haima's. Scholars dared venture outside. Seclusion is no way to foster discovery. It is only a convenient form of escape. Battle Mage wrote. Just wanted to throw these ideas out. Would love to see you tackle in future uploads. Yeah, that's a really good... There's a lot there. So... So let's start off with the seclusion thought. So I believe that in this game, things like seclusion, blindfolds, things that basically limit your interaction and thus the experience to the outside world are all forms of ideologies, which unfortunately I think we all know those become very dogmatic very quickly and become more or less very divisive, almost like weapons, if you will, that can create very cult-like and negative ways of thinking that you're no longer seeing the world as a whole. You are only seeing it through the lens that you choose to see it. And honestly, like, now that I say it, that could very well be the case that is happening to me right now. As far as the psychology theme, like, once I have it in my mind, and now granted there's tons of evidence and stuff that we have uncovered that would make it seem like, yes, this is correct, and this is the, at least in some ways, the dots are being connected. But, you know, I although I'm open to... Oh, do not stop, you idiot. And although I'm open to a lot of other ideas, like, my mind has almost become like, I put up walls for other things that have to, other ideas that need to penetrate those walls or climb over those walls, if you will, where it's like, and I see that with, like, my mind has not become necessarily stagnant, but it is starting to become a little bit like one track, which, if you're correct, is great, but if you're not really allowing yourself the opportunity to see the world as a whole and view it in a correct light. And I think that's, it doesn't matter if in the game if people are faith-based, if they're intelligence-based, if they are... When I see somebody with a blindfold on or living a life of solitude, I associate that with stagnation and then ultimately a very firm ideology. And really what this game is trying to get at is that those mindsets become very dangerous very quickly, and if you're not careful, will lead you into a corner that is hard to get yourself out of. So those are my thoughts as far as like the stagnation, locking something in or locking something out is very much that you don't want your ideas to become corrupted by other people's or simply other experiences that you have in life, which not a great way to live life. And then stone crowns are also represents this tendency. Their divorce leaves Renala broken, showing the dangers of human relationships and probably reinforcing the sorcerer's convictions. Yeah, so you could definitely. So that just in human nature in general, right? When something hurts us or something, a new experience doesn't go well, we often just we're like, see, I told you. Like, it's a bit of like you're affirming your convictions because of one negative experience, which shapes even further your already very skewed view of the world. Like a perfect example for me is I travel a ton for work. I go all over the country, all over the world. I've seen a lot of different stuff, and I come back. I live in Iowa, which is a very like bubble community. Like Iowans, they very often just kind of we do kind of the same routine. We have the same lifestyle, and we see the outside world as being a scary place because of things like the news and things like that. And like if an Iowan decided to travel and then had a single bad experience, let's say like their flight got delayed, yada yada yada, or they lost their luggage, or they had a bad experience with hotel or anything like that, they're gonna be like, see, like I told you, like, so I'm never. They basically put up that that spell that says I'm never leaving and I'm never letting anything in because of this negative experience. Yeah, and you could definitely use that same sort of idea as far as human relationships and interactions go, for people who are like introverted or whatever. And not all the time, but I think introverts statistically have a higher tendency for I don't want to say they have a higher IQ, but because they're introverted, they're often looking inward, and that part of their mind develops a little bit stronger than an extrovert who is getting most of their buckets are being filled, if you will, from the outside world, and most of the buckets for an introvert are getting filled from the inside world. So obviously, like things like mind, imagination, all things that are related to sorcery and magic would very much be like an introverted characteristic. So it could be that sorcerers are kind of supposed to be resembled or representations of introverts, and their kind of Edgar. Shabiri Grape. Banished Knight. Raw meat, raw meat. Yeah, that'd be... Because Carl Jung also talks about... another archetype, if you will, would be introvert and extrovert, or another personality type would be introvert and extrovert, and the differences between them, and what essentially how they view the world and how they interact with the world, and then ultimately how they develop because of those personality quirks. And I could very much see that sorcerers could be very introverted, high imagination, high IQ, and then things like extroverts would probably be more faith-based, because it's more community, outward. There's an outside God. You have a community of people that are like-minded, and you go to church and you go to mass and all these types of things. Yeah, I think it's a good connection to make, I think, for sure. So very quickly, since we just fought Edgar, I think Edgar could very much be a microcosm of what is happening here in the lands between. So Edgar was a very proud man, did not want to leave his castle, had a certain conviction to him and pride and all these things. And then his daughter got murdered. And very quickly he turned from this proud, stout, stoic man into driven mad, essentially, and is out for revenge, and is, obviously the Shabiri grape means that he's going mad, and things like that, and he is in this world of chaos, which, if we look at it from Marika's point of view, like right now she is battling between, in her mourning process and her grieving, she's battling between succumbing to chaos and revenge and darkness and all this type of stuff, which happens to Edgar, or learning from it, letting this experience happen, and then growing from it, rather than it growing inside of you like a cancer. So it's a very fitting, Marika lost Godwin, which, whether or not it's an actual child or is her ego or whatever, it's still a significant blow to somebody's psyche. So, yeah. Why not? Oh, jeez, I thought I died. Great Blade Phalanx. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on that, Mushroom, and as well as Antonio, and yeah, love to know what you guys think about those thoughts. And it's very much like the Nox helm, the mirror helm, and not letting outer gods essentially penetrate your thoughts. You know, outer gods, if they are these kind of outside influences or strong states of emotion or whatever it is, or some sort of mental illness, those all kind of come from unwanted thoughts, right? Like, if you have anxiety, you're having unwanted, unnecessary thoughts about catastrophizing the future, which there's no evidence for. There's no reason for you to think that way. I mean, I'm somebody, I've had anxiety my whole life, so I understand the power of those unwanted thoughts, and that they seem to just come from nowhere. And if you let them, they will totally dominate your life and eat you from the inside out. And the Nox helm, and it could be, you know, a same thing with blindfolds or whatever. No, not really, because blindfolds don't really. They kind of do the opposite almost. But anywho. Who is that guy, huh? Hmm? And then gaming for part 10. He says, I think a live stream sounds like a great idea. The ability to bounce ideas off of people in the moment could definitely be beneficial and fun. I totally agree, and something I want to do. Your observation of America's hair blew my mind. I swear I'm going to have to check on that every statue I come across. Yeah, it is a really interesting discovery that I'm really surprised nobody else has come across it. And maybe I'm sure that there's somebody like me out there who has made that connection, or at least noticed it. But yeah, it's very interesting, and something that once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I think it's a big clue in the game as far as, first of all, where America is at in her development in her life, and then where America is at through this process of individuation. So yeah, definitely interesting. And let me, when you play and you find some stuff, let me know what you think. And then he also says, Radon remains an enigma to me despite his popularity. Yep, same here, brother. Obviously, his resistance to change. Heck, he stopped fate itself. But his motive isn't to maintain the current order. King Morgott explicitly names him as a traitor, so he's directly opposing the Golden Order. He's sentimental to be sure, but a traitor nonetheless. Yeah, I guess when we get to that part in the game when we're fighting Morgott at the throne, we'll have to listen up and see exactly what he says. But I think you're right. I think he does say they're traitors each and all or something like that. Which, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, and I don't know. So here's how I would put it. Resistance to change. So there's two ways to look at change, or there's two ways to look at somebody's resistant to change. Is one, they are either so afraid of change and what that looks like, regardless of the current status or the current zeitgeist, they are more afraid of the devil that they don't know rather than the devil that they do know. Which is to say that, you know, things are bad, but change could be even worse. So I do not want to even test that and see what that looks like. And then, so that's a fear more of like a world view state of change. Like, I think you could look at it in political terms as well. Like, especially here in America with our political landscape and the two-party system and all that kind of stuff. Like, people who identify as Democratic, for example, they might say, you know, Joe Biden isn't doing exactly what I want him to do, but Jesus, could you imagine if a Republican got in there? Like, how messed up would that be? I'd rather keep the world as it is than have a completely new party in there that's going to mess it up even worse. So that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is that it's a change, it's a personal change, right? So for Radon, it doesn't necessarily mean that he is resisting change at a mass level, but that he is simply the part of America's psyche that resists change at a personal level, which I think we can all attest to how strong that force can be. Because any sort of change in our normal routine is very difficult and often leads to things like stress and anxiety and things like that. Okay. So you could look at it, you know, in that lens as well, which that's kind of how I view Radon, is that he is afraid of personal change. Like letting go of his horse and letting go of, you know, his childhood and letting go of this and that. And oh boy. Nope. 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 So yeah, I agree that he's not necessarily propping up the Golden Order, so to say, but his resistance to personal change and the pure strength of that emotional state is inadvertently, let's just say, keeping the current status quo, both for him personally and then also at a mass level with the current, you call it political system or whatever, however you want to, the current Golden Order. So that is kind of how I see Radon. Yeah, because it's and the reason that he is so strong and so feared is because, again, we as human beings, our human nature is we don't like change, right? Like, although it is very good for us and something that we need in order to evolve and grow, it is hard and it's difficult and something that we resist all the time. Like, how many people stick in jobs that they hate because they're so afraid to take that leap of faith to change, so they'd rather just stick with what they have because that fear is so great. And if, Melania represents change, and was not able to defeat Radon, I mean, that just speaks to the power of our resistance, or basically went to a standstill. Change and the resistance to change are at ever opposing, forces. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. I am probably going to wrap up here. I'm running out of time, so let me know what you guys think in the comments, man. I plan to do another few videos this week, and hopefully you can catch back up a little bit. Next time I will go over part 11 comments, so keep the comments coming. And maybe this weekend I'll set up a time to do a live stream for a few hours, and we can just kick it and chat and have more of a live forum than this. But either way, appreciate you all. Thanks so much for watching, and subscribe and keep an eye out for the lore video. Much love. Peace.